doing well so far. But the important thing to understand about Islamists is that they are nationalists. Whatever you want to say about Hezbollah, however you think of them, as a political group or as a terrorist group, their ideology, their agenda, their goals stop at the borders of Lebanon. However you feel about Hamas, whether you see them as a terrorist organization or as a political organization, their ideology, their agenda, their goals stop at the borders of what they consider historic Palestine. They are not interested in the world, they're interested in their states. On the opposite side of Islamism is what scholars refer to as jihadism. Jihadism is the term we use to describe groups like Al-Qaeda. These are transnational groups. More simply put, they're globalists. They have no interest in creating a nation state. On the contrary, their ultimate goal is to get rid of all nation states. They believe that the very concept of nationalism is a sin. That the very idea of the nation state is anathema to Islam. Their goal? Destroy all nations, erase all borders, erase all boundaries, reconstitute the world as a single global order under their control. This is what they mean when they say caliphate. This is what they're referring to. They're not just transnationalists, they're anti-nationalists, in other words. They have almost nothing in common with these Islamist organizations. No member of Al-Qaeda has ever been caught in Palestine fighting alongside Hamas. They wouldn't be welcome if they were. Al-Qaeda couldn't care less about Palestinian nationalism. They want to get rid of all nationalisms. So to lump these two in the same category, assume that they want the exact same thing, and then respond with the same reaction, war, well, that's all you need to know about why the war on terror had been such a disaster up to this point. Here's the problem with jihadism, is that the truth is that they don't really want anything. This, I think, is the hardest thing for an American audience to wrap their minds around. Al-Qaeda wants nothing, at least nothing that can be had in any real or measurable terms. Okay, they want the planet. Okay, good luck with that. In fact, part of why there's such an appealing group, particularly amongst young people, and make no mistake, jihadism is a youth movement. Bin Laden himself said it quite clearly, quote, "The only age group that I am interested in is the 15 to 25 age range." That's it. It makes sense if you think about it. Because the truth is, it's only between 15 and 25 you actually think that you can remake the world. Right? After about 25, you graduate, you buy a car, you get a family, you get a mortgage, you become a Republican. Right? But part of the reason why Al-Qaeda, why jihadism is so appealing to these young people is precisely because of its utopian nature. You know, what's funny is that I've read, almost everything that these guys have written. And one thing that I have noticed is that they never, ever talk about their goals. They never talk about anything like victory. Because their goals are so absurd, so mind-bogglingly idiotic, that to talk about them is to sort of invite scrutiny on how stupid your goals are. So they don't. They just they talk about these general ideas. The number one, if you look at Al-Qaeda's manifesto, goal number one, and I'm not kidding, rid the world of evil. Sound familiar? Because they can't talk about other things. But, I will be honest with you, when you talk to a lot of young Muslims, particularly in places like, Egypt or Saudi or Jordan, that's part of why they find jihadism and particularly bin Laden so appealing. There is something appealing, I have to say, about a man who's so untainted by any kind of political or economic desires, whose goals are so impossible to achieve in this lifetime that he doesn't even talk about them. When you live in a society in which your own political and religious leaders are so utterly corrupt and inept, that's kind of appealing. It kind of makes sense.